Hey guys. Well, I totally planned on seeing you 2 days this week, and or no, 3 days this week, and only being out two, but things happened. My 4-year-old is on the mend, and now my husband has pneumonia, so it's been a fantastic week. Okay, just to review for a second, you guys labeled your periodic tables Monday with Mrs. Lake, and then yesterday you should have watched some videos about determining the number of subatomic particles in atoms. And this shouldn't be anything completely new to you. It should be something that you're kind of familiar with. But just to remind ourselves, let's say, choose that color. It wouldn't let me choose this color. Let's say we have fluorine on the periodic table. A lot of times you will see things written like this, the atomic number down at the bottom and the atomic mass or the mass number written up there at the top. That is a very common way of representing elements. Atomic number. And that right there is our mass. All right, so if we want to determine the number of protons, protons is always equal to the atomic number, and electrons are as well, as long as there is no charge. We'll get into that later. The way that we will write that in here, 9 is my atomic number, so 9 is the number of protons, and 9 is the number of electrons. We will say that this thing has 9p plus for protons, 9e with a little negative there for electrons. And then to find the number of neutrons in any atom, we are going to take, why am I writing neutral? We are going to take and subtract the atomic number from the mass number. So mass minus atomic. In this case, 19 minus 9. So this would have 10 neutrons. We do that little n with a subscript of 0 because neutrons are neutral and they have no charge. That should be from yesterday, and that again is probably something that you have seen before. And now we're going to use that information to create what we call Bohr models. This may not be completely new either. If it is, pretty simple. If you can do the first part, you can do this part. If it's not new, just sit back and relax. The center of the atom is the nucleus. The nucleus contains protons and neutrons. And we have electrons outside of the nucleus. The electrons exist in energy levels, or at least it was thought at one time that they existed in energy levels. We now know that that's actually not the case, but a Bohr model is the most simple way to depict what an atom is like. So we still use this even though we know it's not scientifically 100% beautiful, wonderful. It still gives us a picture of the atom. So the way that we will draw electrons is in shells around the nucleus. You may have seen Bohr models done like this, where here's my nucleus, and then here are my levels, and people will draw electrons on. And that is fine, but we're going to do it a little bit more simply. We're going to do it so that you don't have to draw each individual electron. You can just write the number of electrons. So we have some maximums for our energy levels. The first energy level can have up to 2 electrons. The second energy level can have up to 8 electrons. The third can have up to 18. And the last one can have, well, it's not the last one, but it's the last one we usually use when we're drawing Bohr models, can have 32. If this is something that you think that you might forget, this right here, the 2, 8, 18, 32, I would make sure that I have that written down somewhere so that I have a reference to look back at. So let's say we go back to fluorine. Fluorine, oops, I need a pencil thing. Fluorine has 9 protons, we said, 9 electrons, and 10 neutrons. And we want to, not that you want to, but it'll be really fun if we draw a Bohr model for that guy. So we're always going to start with our nucleus, and inside of the nucleus we are going to place our protons and our neutrons. 10 neutrons and 11 protons. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. 9 protons, 10 neutrons. Much better. And now we have to add those 9 electrons. We cannot move from one energy level to the next unless it's full. So I start at the first energy level. It can have a maximum of 2 electrons. Do I need to fill that to get up to 9 electrons? Yes, I do. So I'm going to place 2 electrons in that first energy level. How many more do I need to complete the Bohr model for fluorine? I need 7 more. And so that would have 7 electrons. That energy level can have up to 8, but if it had 8, we would have 10 electrons, and fluorine only has 9. Let's say we want to do a Bohr model for nickel. If you find nickel on your periodic table, nickel is number 28. It is a transition metal. Nickel atomic number is 28, and our mass number is 58.71, 58.69, just depends on which periodic table you're looking at. Sometimes those hundredths places vary a little bit. So if we round that to a whole number, that is 59. How many protons, neutrons, and electrons do I have? Well, protons are given by the atomic number as our electrons. So I know I'm going to have 28 protons and 28 electrons. And in order to find neutrons, I'm going to subtract 59 minus 28. And that gives me 31. To create my Bohr model, I'm first going to draw my nucleus. I'm going to place my protons and my neutrons inside of that nucleus. And then I'm going to add my electrons. You can see when you get to the bigger ones how it would be a pain in the butt to draw each of those 28 electrons. So it's much easier just to say, my first shell, I do need 2 because I'm trying to get up to 28. My second shell, I need those 8. I need that to be full. That makes 10. The next shell, remember, 2, 8, 18, 32 are our maximums. So 2 and 8 gives me 10. Another 18 takes me up to 28. That energy level is full. I don't need to move on to the next one, though, because I only had 28 electrons I needed to add. Okay, so today, if you haven't finished any of the other assignments that you've gotten between Monday and Tuesday, you need to finish and hand in those things. There is a sheet that you're going to be working on today that has protons, neutrons, electrons, determining those kinds of things. So that's periodic table worksheet 2. That's today. And then tomorrow in class you'll be getting an assignment for some element cards that you're going to make called Elemental Who Am I? You will get those instructions tomorrow, and hopefully you will be able to complete, well, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to complete those before you leave class tomorrow. So everything that has been handed to you this week should be turned in before you leave class tomorrow. Have a good weekend after that, and I will see you guys on Monday.